Alright, moving into the final chapter, the material that we're going to cover this semester. Chapter 9 is called Personal Finance. So, in this chapter we're going to be looking at, in the first section is the easiest section, basically going to be applying skills that we had from Chapter 4 about percentages to budgeting, taxes, monthly pay, discounts and sales after tax, things like that. So kind of things that we've already talked about with the percentages, but just applying them to personal finance. But you should not be lulled into a false sense of security thinking that this chapter will be really easy, because the last three sections, 2, 3, and 4, do get a little heavy with some pretty intense formulas. First, we're going to talk about in 9.2 compound interest, and then 9.3 we'll look at a formula for present value, and well, anyways, we'll get to it when we get to it, but let's start with 9.1 first, which will be nice and familiar. So the book starts off on page 461 with like this long, drawn-out explanation of what budgeting means. I'm not going to get into that. You can read it if you'd like. I want to get straight into the examples. Okay. So I'll work through these examples, and then I might find some problems in the book to work through as well, the exercise problems. And I'll give you some exercise problems to work on your own too for extra practice. Okay, so example 1 says determining federal income tax. Okay. Jamie graduated from college in 2013 with a degree in accounting. Her first job pays an annual salary of $52,000. So I can say annual salary $52,000. How much should she expect to pay in federal income tax for this salary if the federal tax rate is 15%? So the problem is asking for how much she'll expect to pay in a year. It's implied, it actually didn't state that, but it's implied that they're asking how much tax will she pay in federal income tax for her whole annual salary. And the federal income tax rate is 15%. Okay. Essentially what we're doing here is we're saying 15% of her salary goes to federal tax. How do you find 15% of $52,000? You just multiply, right? Percent of a number means you multiply the percent by the number. But first, you've got to convert the percent to a decimal. So we've done this, right? We've done these percent problems. This could be turned into what is 15% of 52,000, right? And that's that kind of percent amount base style problem. So we're going to have 15% times 52,000, which is the same as 0.15, converting it to a decimal, times 52,000. And the calculator tells us that that is $7,800. So that's how much of her income will go to federal taxes per year, assuming this annual salary. All right? How about monthly? How about monthly pay? So this, we're looking at annual pay and annual taxes in example 1. So let's look at example 2, where we're looking, because whenever you're budgeting, typically we don't budget for a year, right? I mean, maybe later when we are all making better money, we can start budgeting for the whole year, but probably the way you budget is determined by how often you get paid, right? So if you get paid weekly, you might have a weekly budget. If you get paid monthly, you will have a monthly budget that then you could divide up to be a weekly budget if you need it to be. So let's see what we've got here. Priya just graduated from a liberal arts college and acquired a job as a sociologist. Her yearly salary is $34,500. Okay, so annual salary. Yearly means annual. Annual salary. $34,500. If the federal tax rate is 15%, Social Security tax rate is 6.2%, and unemployment tax rate is 6%, determine the following. We're going to want her yearly taxes and her monthly take-home pay. Alright, so take-home pay is going to be her pay after taxes. Her pay before taxes is called net pay or net income. Or sorry, no. Her net income is what she takes home. Sorry. Alright, I said that backwards. In case there's any confusion, they literally put net income in a box at the top of the page on 462. Okay, so federal tax rate is the same as it was for example 1. 15%. Then we've got Social Security. I'm just going to abbreviate, say Social Security instead of also putting tax rate. That is 6.2%. And then unemployment is 6%? Yes, 6%. Okay. Part A asks us to find her yearly taxes. Well, it's going to go very similar to how we did the first problem. We'll convert each of the percents to decimals and multiply them by her annual salary. This is her salary before taxes. And we'll have 3 separate tax amounts, but we want her total yearly taxes, so we'll take those 3 separate amounts and we'll add them up. All right. So we'll say, first problem, can I just jump straight to 0.15, that's a 15%, times 34,500. Then I'm going to have, now recall, the quickest way to get a percent as a decimal is just divide it by 100, right? You can say scoot the decimal place left by 2, but if that confuses you or for whatever reason, just punch 6.2 into your calculator and divide it by 100. 0.062, that's the Social Security, and then 0.06. Okay, each of these is a question for the calculator. The first one is $5,175. Second one is $2,139. And the last one is $2,070. And remember, these are 3 separate tax amounts, so we're going to add them all up. We're going to say 5,175 plus 2,139 plus 2,070, getting 9,384. Just as an extra question, what is this as a percentage? So I'll call this A prime, part A prime. What percentage of her annual salary goes to taxes? Annual salary. So we know them all individually. What percentage of her annual salary goes to taxes? Well, we could say that is essentially the same as the question of what percentage is 9,384 of 34,500. Did I say that backwards? Let me restate that because I think I said it backwards from how I meant it. What percentage of the base 34,500 gives 9,384? So we're saying some percentage that we don't know times that base 34,500 is going to give me 9,384. How do we find this? We divide by 34,000. And we multiply by 100% to create it, to turn it back into a percent. And if we punch this into the calculator, of course we're going to get 934. 27.2%. Can you think of another way that you could have found that? Probably just by adding up the percents, right? The 15, or here they are, these percents. Would that work? It would. In this case, it would. So percents can be finicky, but in this case, if you wanted to know the total taxes she pays based off of her annual salary and these tax rates, you could just add up all these percentages to get 27.2% and take that out of her annual salary. That's what this means. And then you would get that sum of 9,384. So multiple ways to solve this problem. All right, part B says find Priya's monthly take-home pay, so the pay that she'll actually get to take home per month. Well, we know her annual pay is $34,500, but that's before taxes. What is her pay? So the first thing we need to note is what is her pay, annual pay after taxes? Well, it's going to be her annual salary before taxes minus her annual taxes that are removed from her pay, and we're getting $25,116. Okay, but Part B is asking not her annual take-home pay, which is what we have right now, but her monthly take-home pay. So of course, what do we do to get monthly, from annual to monthly? You just divide by 12, right? I'll leave the dollar sign off while I'm doing the math with it. This is divided by 12, going to give us answer in dollars of $2,093, and we'll say per month, to emphasize that that is the monthly pay. Monthly take-home pay after taxes. This is the number she would want to base her monthly budget on. Okay. Alright, example 3 is going to continue with the same numbers we were working with from example 2. So example 3 says, in example 2, Priya had a monthly net income of $2,000, or $2,093. Use the steps to create a budget to allocate Priya's monthly income if her expenses consist of the following. And then they give us 5 expenses there that all sum to $1,810. Now, on page 461, they actually gave steps to create a budget. Steps 1 through 4. Calculate monthly and periodical income. Calculate monthly and periodical expenses, so bills, and anything else that you're spending money on consistently. And then obviously subtract, right? Like, how do you figure out how much you're going to have left over? You subtract expenses from your income, and then allocate any remaining funds to whatever you want to allocate it to. A savings account, emergency fund, long-term goal, whatever you need to allocate it to. Which I feel like those 4 steps are very intuitive. They're very intuitive, right? But we'll play along with what the book does, and we'll actually list them out. So first of all, let me just get this data down. Monthly pay. Okay. So step 1 is already done, right? This is step 1, to figure out what your monthly pay is. Step 2 is to determine monthly expenses, but we've already got those all listed. Monthly expenses, we have rent at $600. We have gas at $250. That's a lot. She must commute. Utilities, so power, water, gas, stuff like that. Well, gas as in gas to heat your home, not, this is gas as in like, for your car. Food and entertainment, just abbreviate entertainment, that's another $600. And then she's got a bill for student loans. So, 210. So she's got it made, because it doesn't look like she has a phone bill or a car bill or so she owns her car. That's nice. She doesn't have car insurance. She doesn't have a health insurance bill. This is not very realistic, right? Maybe realistic for like a student, but is it really realistic for a student to be making this much per month anyways? No. So this is already a little bit depressing, because we're going to see that the sum of all of these, you add them all up, is already very close to what she makes per month. And it's not even that realistic, because this is like a person who has no health insurance, who has no cell phone, who has no car insurance, right? Unless her parents are helping her out. But this is a person who's graduated and gotten a degree as a sociologist, a job as a sociologist. Anyways, I don't want to go on a rant about how messed up that is. But anyways, okay. So what are we doing now? Step 2 is to determine monthly total expenses. That's done. That's step 2. Monthly expenses. Okay, step 3 is to subtract, right? Step 3 is to subtract. So we'll say 2093 minus 1810. I don't even know why I'm setting it up to do it by hand, because I'm just going to ask the calculator, and I'm going to get $283. And this is what we would call, or what the book calls, step 3 in your budget. And then step 4 is to allocate additional funds to savings. And that's not something we really write down here. That's going to be determined by, we would need more information. If they said, she takes half of her extra money and puts it in, in an emergency fund, and the other half towards a savings account, then we could do more with this number. But step 4 is going to be, there's not much for us to write down. And moreover, we know, I've already pointed out the flaws or the missing pieces in her monthly expenses, but also we know that this much money per month can really disappear fast, right? You get a flat tire, it's like nearly, depending on what kind of tires you have, that's like a third of that money gone, right? Any number of things could make this amount of money disappear in a month. What if it's Christmas, and she's got to buy Christmas presents, and that's all she has to buy? I mean, you might as well wave goodbye to all that money, right? So she is not in a good place. That's my conclusion. The book did not ask for that conclusion, but I'm giving it anyways. Alright, example 4 encourages you to try using a spreadsheet like Excel, Microsoft Excel, to create a budget for Gail, who works at an art gallery, but let's just do it by hand. You can make a spreadsheet if you'd like. In fact, if you're a really organized person, you may have a spreadsheet for your own budget already, but let's just do this by hand. I'm not going to require you to do this in Excel. So we know her annual income is $44,000, and we know her monthly pay, her net monthly pay, meaning the amount she takes home after taxes, is so they've already taken care of the taxes for us. Oh, dang it. There we go. $2,669.33, and then her expenses are rent at. Okay, there's her expenses. This one's looking a little bit better because it accounts for insurance and phone, though $300 a month for food seems a little low to me.